Okay.
Good morning. Oh,
What's
good
up?
morning, America. Okay, that didn't count.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
It does.
starting.
Let's go.
Okay, we're starting here.
Good morning.
Good morning, America. Welcome to the Asian All-American Podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Kong, with my co-host, JCool, and today we have a very special guest, Kea Sit.
Hey.
She is a yeah, she is a first-generation Cambodian American that immigrated here in 1982, and she is a very accomplished woman, currently pursuing a master's degree in healthcare administration. And on the other hand, she is a wife with one child. She is also a proud resident of Oakland, California. We're super excited to have her here as our first guest. In fact, she is my auntie, and in the Khmer language, I call her Minkia. Welcome, Minkia. How are you?
I'm good. No bias here with you guys inviting me.
Man, so how's everything at the house?
Everything's good. We're all trying to handle this sheltering in place as well as we can. It feels like Groundhog Day every day, but we're doing the best that we can, right? With the circumstances that we're all in. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jazz.
Well, before we move forward, I would like to mention that Kea and I are currently working on a family project that dives into our family experience from Cambodia to America during the Khmer Rouge regime. She will be providing a different and valuable experience to our discussion today.
First, talk about how are you and your family kind of dealing with trying to be safe and still go on with life with the coronavirus?
Yeah, I think we're all kind of going through this together as a society, right? I mean, I think in terms of how it affects my family, my personal life, my professional life, I mean, obviously, I'm getting to know my family very well, being at home every single day. So, working remotely is what a lot of us have had to get used to, right?
Right.
This virus is no joke, COVID-19. And I have to say, being somebody that's in healthcare, you hear about it firsthand and you understand the seriousness and the ramifications of it. And it's nothing to play with. Infectious diseases, is something I'm familiar with. And, it's important to understand how it impacts people and why social distancing is so important to control this. Yeah.
So,
And
how about you, Miss Miss Jasmine Kong? I mean, you're a college student and you're a student athlete. I mean, you're now transferring over to your next school. Geez, like, what is going on with you?
Well, the pandemic kind of ruined the end of my season at
Everybody's
DVC.
season. Everybody, don't be greedy. It's not all about you. Everybody.
Yeah, and actually, we made it all the way to the state games, and we were actually at Lemoore College. And 2 hours before we were actually going to play the state game, they sent us home. And girls were crying. We were devastated. I mean,
girls and guys were crying. Girls and guys.
yes.
Right.
And in the meantime, like Kea said, I'm getting to learn more about my family. The other day, I got to go to her house and play with my little cousin. And we had a water gun fight and everything. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, in the Asian culture and also the Latino culture, we tend to still either live with or we're still around our grandparents, like you said, right? So we have to be extremely careful, right? And mindful of who we in contact with, how we move and all that. And segue into what's going on right now with the Black Lives Movement, with the unfortunate death of George Floyd. I mean, it's with unemployment like the way it is, it's kind of easy to be out there, and you should be out there if you can. But I was telling Jasmine, like, a hard thing is that we don't see enough Asians out there, but understanding where our situation, whether we take care of our grandmother or whatever, that's our situation. So if anyone is out there wondering why you don't see enough Asians out there, that's probably why.
Right.
Yeah. And there's other reasons too. It's a major tragedy, right? I mean, this is something we don't want to see out in the world. But I think what we're seeing is a magnification of, COVID-19, having to shelter in place. We're all getting to know each other really well. We're all getting, fatigued. People are getting tired of being stuck at home. They want some see. We're all, going out there and risking it. Um, and you know I mean, that's the reality of life, right? Life goes on. Things happen out in the real world, and I think what we saw was it was really sad and disheartening, right? I mean, you go out and the last thing on your mind is that you're going to be treated in the way that George Floyd was treated, right? And you look to your brothers and sisters, you know, to reach out when you're asking for help, and it's really hard to watch. I mean, honestly, I couldn't watch the whole video because I knew what was coming.
I'm very aware that one of those officers, the Asian dude,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that bugged the ish out of me, man. I literally, but maybe he was so far deep into the system, and I guess, I mean, I know there's a debate right now about, officers telling other officer like, dude, you need to change the course right now, get your foot off his face,
Yeah,
lead off
yeah,
his neck, or whatever the case is. But that had to bother you.
yeah. And it's common in a lot of professional industries, that hierarchy of, when you're the subordinate, you're listening to your senior leader. And it doesn't excuse it, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at a human being who's asking you for help, right? The human in you should feel compelled to reach out.
Instinct, right? You would hope the human instinct would be like,
Right. Right.
Right.
And I think this is what a lot of people are highlighting is this systemic racism, right? It's just so ingrained in that hierarchy that is in place, that unsaid rule of just going with the flow, right? And I think it can be challenging for people to speak up, right? I mean, it's hard, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about a human life, um that's when your real virtues and principles are being tested, right? And I hope, I mean, if you're caring human and you have empathy, that you would want to extend that hand out, right? um because it's for that reason that a lot of Asian Americans are even here in America to begin with,
yes,
is because that
please acknowledge. Please acknowledge.
yeah, yeah, it's that extension of, I want to help my fellow human. I think I mentioned to you the other day, had it not been for the Civil Rights Immigration Act of 65, I mean, we wouldn't have been able to be here. So I think these are things that we have to consider, right? But even among the Asian community, we also have our own bias and our own issues that we have to work out, right? And so, this issue forces a lot of us to look at it.
Right.
And we're of a generation where it's time for us, like myself, who can look at this circumstance and really truly delve into that, understanding of what can I do?
Yeah. I mean, I would like to jump in.
Yeah. How are you feeling about it, Jess? Because you were trying to get me to go out there with you the first protest. I'm like, I mean, that was hard.
Yeah, I thought I could go out there and get some like historic photos because I'm also like growing with my photography. But my parents were like, "No, we want you to stay home and stay safe." And this got me kind of thinking, like, why aren't Asian American communities joining the Black Lives Matter?
Well, there are people. Let's just point out there are a lot of Asian Americans out there, but
Right.
it's just the coalition of Asian American groups. Like, we need to back it. But anyway, sorry about that, Jazz. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, my question is like, why aren't Asian communities that are not supporting coming out? And at least with my experience, it's hard to talk to my parents about it and my grandparents about it because of the anti-blackness we have in our community.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah,
like it's systemic. You know what? I think like the sad thing is this: is Asians and blacks also have a history of misunderstanding, miseducation, right? And
Right.
I mean, every different levels and all that stuff. But and then also, especially if you're a recent immigrant, right? You are kind of force fed some of the many stereotypes, right? Right? If you're afraid of black people, that's because you've been fed a stereotype for many years, or you've had a bad encounter with one or two, and then you just put them in a bad light for the rest of your life, and you kind of like spread that to the rest of your family and friends. But that goes back to continuing or trying to understand what the American experience for them, for African Americans are or
Right.
is.
Right.
And also the Native Americans. Like, I think many immigrants aren't privy to that information. We're too busy working.
right.
We're too busy working. We're too busy trying to fulfill the American dream through education,
Yeah.
through work, and that's good, right? That's good. But I think we do that to a fault because we figure if we move silently, we work around. We're very good at working around the problem, Kea. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're very
I
good. And unfortunately, the African American experience is they've gone up and over, sideways, up and under.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. But this is why we are here talking about what we
right.
can do to be active, though, Keo. Let's talk
So
about the solution.
so here's the thing. I feel like a couple of things here. The thing is, a lot of Asian people understand oppression, right? A lot of us come from our own countries
Yes,
because of oppression
you're
and
escaping
because,
from there. You're moving
yeah,
here. Yeah.
we've seen
Right.
a lot of injustice, right? And that's the reason
Hmm.
a lot of us are here. And we all understand revolutionary change. It's happened all over the world. It's not like uncommon for Asians to see that perspective, and I think there's this one person, Hassan Minaj. He,
Yeah,
he
Hassan
he's
Minaj, the homie.
Yeah, yeah. He was saying how when you come to America, you can't just accept its excellence. You have to also accept the bad parts that come with being here. So I think that's, a lot of Asian Americans really have to look at themselves and really take a good look and ask themselves, by being here, by way of being here, and being able to have the privilege and opportunity that this country has given them, that they also need to consider that, that also includes its history, right? I mean, it
Come
includes
with
history,
it, man.
and what comes with
Yeah.
is hundreds of years of oppression and systemic racism, right? And so those are things that we have to take a hard look at. And I think it is a generational thing, whereas, like my parent, my mother, who's alive, she doesn't speak a whole lot of English. Would I expect her to completely fully understand this? Maybe not. But someone in my
Hmm.
position that has grown up here, that has seen the environment and the culture and have benefited from the opportunities that I've been given because I've been here, it is important for someone like me in my position to really look at and to really decide how I can make an impact, you know? So I think these are important things that Asian Americans really have to take a good look, because you have to acknowledge the benefits that you have received by being here.
Right.
And
There's been a
yeah,
lot of bloodshed for it, and that's the thing. Yes, we're busy trying to excel and do well and achieve the American dream, whatever the fuck that is. I'm sorry, excuse my language, whatever that means, right? And we are too busy doing that, and I think that's the whole thing. It's just like trying to survive. It costly,
yeah.
you
But
know.
we own the good and the bad, that comes with the culture, and
Yeah,
we have to acknowledge that. And we also have to acknowledge, as Asian American community, that there's even biases in our own culture,
straight up.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
Talk about
yeah, we
yeah, we'll
we
talk about that.
our darker skinned sisters and brothers in the Asian communities get treated differently than lighter skinned Asian
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah, we'll have
So
a discussion another topic. That's a whole
yeah,
different, but that's
That's a whole
real
different
deal
topic.
Holyfield. That's real deal Holyfield. Hey, I'm embracing my brown. You like your brown
yeah,
skin though? Jasmine, you like your brown skin?
Yeah.
We're about the same.
Yeah. I love my
Yeah,
brown skin.
Kia got
yeah.
that skin complexion, but it's all good. Hey, I love light skinned sisters. It's all good, Kia.
I think we are here in America, right? This
Yeah,
is in the forefront. I mean, this is an opportunity to really make some historic change in this country. And
Right.
we have to really monopolize this moment where there's so many of us mobilized right now who truly care about the human condition.
right.
And we have a chance to make a difference. And
Yes.
it may not necessarily have to be going to a protest. It could be, donating your money to Black
Educating
organizations.
yourself and educating
Yeah,
the people around you, and having conversations with your family members and friends about it, because that's what
That
it
right?
makes a
takes.
big difference.
That's what it's
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? And that's what we're gonna try to push, push that to the forefront, because I think that's education is big, and I think also redefining what success is, right? And then also
Mm.
being active in living here. Like the big part is if we have to exercise the vote. Like
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
look it, you just not voting to vote. Don't go into like my first time voting, and I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna vote
I
for.
haven't voted yet.
I voted for one president, right? But I had no idea what was on the other, other parts of the ballot. I'm like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
think it's up to us, and part of our contribution to our community is understand what's going on in Oakland or in the Bay Area, wherever you live, and we need to know who is representing us, councilmen, mayors,
Right.
whatever the case is, and that's what
Yeah.
we have to do.
Yeah, yeah, and getting rid of corrupt people.
That's the
We
only
need to
way
get
to do that. That's the only way to
yeah,
do it. Yeah,
yeah,
Jay,
I
you
feel
voted
though.
yet? Have you exercised?
No, I haven't voted yet, but I look forward to, because now
But can I
you know,
ask
I'm
you why? May I ask you why? May I ask?
why I look forward to it.
No.
Well,
Haven't you? Because you're 20 years old. You had 2 years. You were 18 and 19 months.
well, I was, consumed with school and basketball, but now I'm finally trying to educate myself and become more of a citizen in this country. Coming from immigrant family.
yeah. And I mean, in a lot of immigrant Asian American households, voting is not necessarily encouraged,
Right.
right?
It
Right.
isn't encouraged. Yeah.
Because your priorities are different,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
Trying to pay
until
bills, man. Trying to put food on the table.
yeah, but and you also don't understand the magnitude of it until you're faced with something of this, level, right? And then you really have to take a look at how it impacts you.
Right.
Which, I think, Jasmine, I mean, you see something like this happening in society, it's impacting your school and your opportunities in college. And so you're seeing how your voice is important to this. And I think, when you can personalize and you can make it intimate to the individual, then people start to feel compelled, right?
Right.
You have to somehow get that message across to people. And I think that's where the Asian American community has opportunity, is to motivate the young generation to understand how much they can make a difference.
Oh, I also think the while Kea is addressing what we can do, but I was kind of raised thinking, okay, my vote doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, that's because you're not. We're not helping you understand the issues.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think,
yeah,
yeah, and that could be just true of like, people in lower social economic situations, right?
right.
Because
Mhm.
if your focus, I mean, just like when people were trying to understand why are people looting? Well, people are looting because they're motivated by other things, they see
Right.
a society that is just, you know, um, full of materialistic things, and maybe they're not necessarily behind the message, but they're like, hey, this is very opportunistic. I just want to go out there and get things that I didn't have access to,
Yeah.
and so, people are motivated by a lot of different things, and I think all we can do is provide awareness and education, and really help people understand how they can make a difference.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So, we will continue to have conversations about this because we must. We cannot let this die. I think that's the reason why, you know, things never get settled. First and
Mhm.
foremost, because not enough people are involved in the movement, like Asian community. We need to get behind these issues because if a Black life doesn't matter, why should our life matter?
Yes.
Right.
Straight up.
Right.
Yeah.
If one, I would like to say if one life doesn't matter, our life doesn't matter. But look at the people that are dying and, uh, you know, all the blood, sweat, and tears, that's been put into us having rights are,
Yeah.
are
Yeah, I agree.
Black community. Straight up, we need to say that out loud, and we have to realize that. And that's an uncomfortable conversation to have, but you know what? It's the truth, man. Let's just be honest. But we'll
Mhm.
continue to have this conversation. I would like to talk about, the projects that you and Jasmine is working on, and well, actually us. We want to obviously try to tell the Cambodian American experience. What you guys, well, Kea, you wrote or what, like kind of like a letter to your father? Is that how it all started?
Yeah. I think going through life, you contemplate often, and at least for myself, I've contemplated about my existence, why I was here, you know, how my family ended up here, what experiences have they gone through. These are all things I think as humans we all look and we try to understand. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm introspective, and I'm always looking at these things because it's important to me, right? I mean, I value my life, and I want to make a difference, and I feel like you have to look at who you are as an individual, where you come from, what that means, the sacrifices that your parents made, your grandparents, and previous generations, because without that history, you would not be possible.
Right.
You know,
And I
you're
think that goes back to like us wanting to honor
yeah,
parents, honor the people that came before us. I think that's what's lost. That's what's lost. Remember, it used to be
yeah,
honorable, and I think we are kind of in a society now. It's about all man for themselves. If you're in America, unfortunately that's what it is. I mean, it's a doggy dog
Mhm.
world, unfortunately.
Right.
But in
yeah,
that way, you lose the integrity you know, of of doing it also for the people that laid down the groundworks for you.
yeah. And
Right.
honestly,
Right.
someone else narrating my life story. I want to be the person that gets to tell my
Yeah.
story for future generations, because I know
Mhm.
future generations are going to say, what was my grandmother like, or my great great grandmother? Because for me personally, I never had that opportunity. And I would have loved to have had the chance to sit down and understand my family's history. Where did we come from?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And Jasmine, I mean, it's really about just also we don't take advantage of all that wisdom that we are missing out, right? You having that
Mhm.
those many conversations with your dad, you and your dad
Right.
are very close. You and your family are very close. So let's talk about your relationship with your parents.
I have a very strong relationship with them because I feel like as a younger generation, we do have a intergenerational trauma um, that we deal with as because they're genocide survivors. But it also is kind of a blessing in
And you're
disguise.
referring to the Cambodian genocide.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Cambodian genocide. Um, and it has bonded me to my father in ways that is amazing. He wasn't really in my life when I was small, but after playing
He's out there
basketball,
work.
Yeah.
yes, because he was working, but he had other things, personal
Okay,
issues he was dealing with, like the trauma he had PTSD he was dealing with and stuff. But sports really bonded me to him, and he's been so supportive of my journey. But it also makes me think the reason why he's supportive is because he never really had a youth or childhood like I did. It was taken away from him, and
Yeah.
it makes me sad in a way, but happy that he's such a great father to support me in all I do because he just wants the best for me. And same with my mother, who's been an amazing mother that I could ask for. And it just made me appreciate life and know that if they survived that there's no excuse for me to be a crybaby here in America. But
I
I
mean,
should be more thankful of what I have, and I just want to give them back everything that they have given me.
I'd like to ask you, Kea, as because I've had this conversation with Jasmine and I've always mentioned about how a lot in the Asian culture, the women are very powerful, man. Like we look at, you know what I mean? They're the ones owning businesses in the Asian culture, right? Owning the restaurants, and they're, despite all the male chauvinistic bullshit that they have hurdle over
We're the
in
paint.
the family cultural stuff, right? But we need more. We need the woman's touch. All this
Yeah.
bullshit and all the chaos that's going on in this world, it's just it's male driven, right? Hey, the one country, Kea, that has eradicated the coronavirus, New Zealand. Who runs that mother? A woman.
Mhm.
Let's get it together. We need more women in
Yes.
power. I don't mind. Shit gets done. How do you feel about that, Kea? Close us out. We got a couple
No,
of minutes.
look,
Check this out.
I mean, I don't want to be biased here, but you
Don't
speak
be. Don't be.
a lot of truth.
Don't be. I know all the pho restaurants and all the Cambodian restaurants I go to are owned and ran by women. Anyway.
Women.
And and if you really look at it, I mean, you can even take that, it's beyond just Asian American women, right?
Right.
Black women are strong.
Yeah.
Hispanic women
Mhm.
are strong. Asian American women are strong.
Sure.
White women are outspoken.
Yeah.
So, I think women in general, just by nature and nurture, we're just built that way, right? Because we have to put it together for our children.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I think that's the driving force, right?
Right.
Because
Mhm.
just through nature, the woman has to hold it together, and so, I just think it's time, right? I
We need
mean,
to
we've had
cultivate that movement, Kea. We need to cultivate it more. We need to encourage you more. You
yeah,
know, and
Yes.
again, it's gonna take everyone to do that. And I
yeah,
think the first move for us Asian Americans is we need to look at. I'm a Filipino dude. You guys are beautiful Cambodian ladies, and we need to just bring the other cultures in what is
yeah,
the Asian umbrella, right? we need
Yeah.
to like power up, man, because I think we are losing the opportunity to have a seat at the table. Yes, we
Yeah.
are making more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big disparity between the
Wow.
wealthy and the poor in our group here in
Yeah.
America.
Mm.
But we need to go ahead and start coalescing. We need to fight alongside everyone else. I
Mm-hmm.
know right
Mhm.
now we're a little different because we have to be around our family members and we care a lot about them. Not that everyone doesn't, but we have our family
Right.
a little different, a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we will find a way,
Yeah.
pull it together. And so I appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank
I
you for having me.
getting
Me
up early
too.
to do this. I know you guys are busy women, and I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to having more discussions